when you are like a senior generalist matte painter, you're also sometimes asked to add those little bits of stuff that will make the shot more alive. So, and by that I mean, for example, animating people or objects. Definitely not like hero characters. We're not talking about doing like proper character animation, but instead use, for example, existing animation caches and just do like a simple shading and put that into your scene. It can be, for example, also moving birds and so on. For example, if you wanted to animate a few walking people, well, you could use this awesome website called Mixamo. So it's completely free, so you can just go along and trying to look for a character like I'm doing here. Something that would quite suit what I'm doing. And then you just click on Find Animation, and then you can just select whatever type of animation you feel would suit the shot, like a walking cycle here. And you have a few options. And when you're happy with the walking cycle, well, you can just then export this. You can download it. I'm just going to change the frame rate to 24 and leave all the rest by default. And then you can just download this, and it's going to be downloaded as an FBX. And then what you can do is simply drag it into your scene. Here I've done a new scene just for the sake of showing this. So all you would need to do, for example, is to shade this character and also maybe loop the animation if you want to have more frames. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate this. So I'm just going to change the the frame range, sorry. Then go to the time editor, and I'm going to drag my animation inside this time editor. So I'm going to just drag it inside, click apply and close, and then I will just need to switch loop to loop progressive here in those little drop down menus. And that's about it. So if I have this button clicked now, I should have my walking cycle that is looped. So that's basically it. So it's really not about properly animating a character. Typically that's the job of other departments. But it's still good to know this kind of stuff because sometimes the other departments don't have time for those minor tasks. So if you can take those tasks on, why not? And it's the same for animating objects. For example, if I take this windmill, well, I can animate this stuff. You know, it's just gonna make, once again, the shot feel more alive and more interesting to look at. So it's really just simple keyframe animation. There's nothing special to know about it. Anything that is animation too advanced, as I said, will typically fall under other departments. So, and even simple stuff like this, you will not always be required to do it, but if you can do it, why not? It's just gonna be better. You can also animate objects like I'm doing here. So it can be whatever. It's really up to you to experiment, guys, and you have a bunch of resources online that you can use for that. So I just showed Mixamo. You can also go, for example, here on TurboSquid. If you wanted, for example, to animate birds, something like that, well, you have a bunch here that you can buy. Some of them are free. So it's really up to you to come up with whatever you would like to animate. If you want to do some effects, you can also find basic tutorials online to do that. I don't know, for example, waterfalls. It is not actually that complicated to do this stuff. So it might be scary. And I repeat it, typically it's not your job to do this. It's just as an extra. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that as a senior you can do. At least when it's not like, for example, I was talking about waterfalls or characters, when it's not like the hero element of the scene, when it's not stuff that is too advanced. So if it's like background waterfalls, small birds, small people walking far in the distance, this type of stuff typically you can do as a matte painter generalist.